Friends, when it comes to Jammu and Kashmir, we control only 50% of the land area, while Pakistan and China illegally occupy 35% and 15% land respectively. Not only do these illegal insertions challenge our sovereignty, but also create a strategic losses. While India and Pakistan have been able to hold their forces after the demarcation of the LOC, the situation on the Chinese side is not very stable. China has time and again provoked crises like the Doklam standoff to extend its boundary into India's territory. Today, China occupies almost 38,000 square kilometers through Aksai Chin, and it's constantly trying to expand its occupied land. Although this saga started back in the 1950s, today India's defense forces have undergone major changes when compared to 1962, and talks are underway to reclaim the Aksai Chin region. Russia's attack on Ukraine has further fueled this discussion. Friends, today we will discuss the conflict over Aksai Chin and its importance. We will also discuss the options in front of India that can help in reclaiming Aksai Chin. And finally, we will look at the possibilities of Russia's support to India in this effort. So let's get started. Aksai Chin covers an area of nearly 38,000 square kilometers, which is mostly a high altitude desert. Separated from the Tarim Basin by the Kunlun Range, this area is located on the eastern side of Ladakh. Ladakh was an independent Himalayan state before the Dogra invasion of 1834, without a clearly defined border. From a cultural perspective, this region shares a lot in common with neighboring Tibet. From an economic perspective, Ladakh, and particularly Aksai Chin, is the trading route between Kashmir and Tibet. In 1819, after the Sikh rulers acquired Kashmir, Maharaja Ranjit Singh started advancing towards Ladakh. One of the Dogra feudatories of the Sikh rulers, named Gulab Singh, with the help of his general Zorawar Singh Kahluria, won Ladakh and integrated it with Jammu and Kashmir. In 1842, under the Treaty of Chusul, the rulers of Tibet and Kashmir confirmed that Ladakh is a part of Kashmir and hence will be governed by the Kashmiri government. While the British East India Company had initially ignored Ladakh, the situation changed after the First Anglo-Sikh War of 1845-46, when Jammu and Kashmir along with Aksai Chin came under British rule. William Johnson, working for the Survey of India, proposed the Johnson Line in 1865, which included Aksai Chin with the territory of Kashmir. In 1897, a British military officer named Sir John Ardagh proposed a new boundary line along the crest of Kulnun Mountains, situated to the north of the Yarkand River, which came to be known as Ardagh Line. The British government accepted that Johnson-Ardagh Line is Ladakh's final boundary after the proposed modifications. Post-independence from the British Empire, the newly formed Government of India inherited Ladakh, including Aksai Chin, as part of its lawful territory under the Indian Independence Act. Initially, China did not protest the inclusion of Aksai Chin with India's boundary. Even when in 1950, the whole of Jammu and Kashmir was adopted as an integral territory under the Indian Constitution, China remained quiet. In his book, India After Gandhi, historian Ramchandra Guha writes that before the 1920s, no Chinese maps claimed Aksai Chin as part of China. According to the Xinjiang map of 1932, the Kunlun Mountains and not the Karakoram Range bordered Aksai Chin, a position that was shared by India. But from the 1950s onwards, China's stand on Aksai Chin started changing when it began annexing Tibet. Cloud RP, author of The Fate of Tibet, cites US intelligence agency CIA in claiming that Chinese policy on Aksai Chin started changing since 1952. In 1950, while annexing Tibet, the Chinese government decided to launch an aggression along Tibet's western boundary. It started with a 3-road network built for military supervision that passed through Aksai Chin. One of these roads is highway number 219 that links Xinjiang Hotan with Tibet's Lhasa. Cloud RP cites another CIA document claiming that the Chinese military first asserted its presence in Aksai Chin in 1951 and began construction activities in 1953. It is worth noting that while China was constructing roads on our territory, slogans like Hindi Chini Bhai Bhai were being raised to promote friendship between the two nations. When Indian Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru was trying to diplomatically assert India's right over Aksai Chin, Chinese newspaper Kuang Ming Jipao published a report in 1957 that said that the Xinjiang-Tibet Highway, the world's largest highway, has been completed. With time, China developed key infrastructure projects in this region to support its military and strengthened its position post the 1962 Sino-Indian War by unilaterally setting up the LAC. After the war, China decided to retreat behind the McMahon Line in Arunachal Pradesh but maintained its control over Ladakh. According to a document that is believed to have originated in the People's Liberation Army of China, the Chinese leadership of 1960s considered the occupation of Aksai a brilliant move that came to be seen as a part of the great strategic vision of Chinese leader Mao Zedong. According to the document, beside being a dagger hanging over India's head, Aksai is also a gateway to Central Asia. Chinese strategists claim that the Chinese army could reach New Delhi through Aksai. So friends, so far we have discussed the integration of Aksai into India and its illegal occupation by China. Now let's understand the strategic and economic importance of Aksai. Today, India is not what it used to be in 1962, and it would be a mistake for China to assume that the Indian military is what it used to be. According to Harsh V. Pant, professor of international relations at King's College, the abrogation of Article 370 by India has deeply affected Chinese interests in the region. Not only does China see Aksai and the whole of Ladakh as a connecting route to Pakistan, but also an important strategic region. India's expansion and fortification in this region can be seen to upset Chinese strategic goals in Central Asia. Be it the China-Pakistan economic corridor or its closeness to Taliban-led Afghanistan or keeping India away from Iran, these strategic Chinese interests are based on Chinese dominance on Aksai. From the standpoint of Indian security, the location of Aksai at a high altitude and its connectivity with China makes it a threat to India's sovereignty. Aksai is being used as a Chinese unmanned satellite to track Indian activities in the region and also to keep an eye on Central Asia. Another point that we cannot ignore with regard to any future conflict is the possibility of China granting Pakistan a military base in Aksai in case of a war between India and Pakistan as a return favor for Pakistan gifting the Sakshagam Valley to China. Moreover, Highway 219 passing through Aksai provides an all-weather connectivity to China with Tibet, hence for China to lose this region would be a great strategic loss. Aksai also holds great economic importance for China. China's prominent water systems like Yangtze, Huanghe and Mekong rivers are severely populated at a time when freshwater availability is crucial for it to become the leader of the semiconductor industry. The excess of glaciers around Aksai could fulfill its requirement of fresh water. China has invested $1.42 billion investment in the Xinjiang Autonomous Region, where it hopes to further expand its chip-making industry. According to Global Times, these facilities could manufacture 24 billion semiconductors and electronic components per year. Not only can China use Aksai's glaciers for fresh water, but also its sand from Taklamakan Desert in chip manufacturing. Chips are made of silicon, which is extracted from sand, and an immense quantity of fresh water is used to clean the silicon wafers. Aksai could fulfill these dual needs by China. Moreover, in 2010, major lead zinc deposits were found in the western Kunlun region, of which Aksai is a part. In 2020, Ladakh's Member of Parliament, Jamyan Sering Namgyal, asserted that it was time that India reclaim Aksai. After his speech, numerous debates were held on this topic to discuss India's options to integrate Aksai. However, India faces major challenges in the endeavor. While China has been accusing India as a major aggressor in the region, it has been continuously pushing India's border as it has been doing in the Galwan Valley. The Chinese attitude leaves no doubt not just about its reluctance to let go of Aksai, but also its ambition to acquire more Indian territories in future. In light of all this, India has no other option than its diplomatic and military power to get control of Aksai. The Indian military is capable of executing military attack, which is one of the options. Indian Defence Forces today are equipped with better weapons and have also developed infrastructure keeping the Chinese threat in mind that can give us considerable upper hand in any conflict. But any prolonged military conflict could prove to be destructive for these two nuclear capable states. Hence, we need to look for diplomatic option. When it comes to diplomacy, we know that China's neighbors and distant countries like USA too are concerned about China's expansionist policies. From the South China Sea to the land borders, China has proved itself to be the aggressor at every front. In such a scenario, India can lead a strong international backlash against China, forcing it to evacuate from Aksai. India can create a global impact by using Tibet as its major tool against China. Even getting sidelined at the UN would create considerable pressure on China. While India could get the support of the US and other Western countries, Russia could be a very important ally for India. This is primarily because of the conflicting interests that are gradually arising between Russia and China. The Russia-China conflict dates back to 1960s. In 1969, USSR and China were engaged in a 7-month-long undeclared conflict, at the end of which China sought USA's help to counter the Soviet Union. Although China has been in support of Russia over the current crisis in Ukraine, experts believe that China is more against NATO than for support in Russia. Geopolitical experts believe that China's support for Russia is not simply a strategic partnership, but an opposition to NATO and the US. Experts claim that the tensions between Russia and China could lead to a major conflict between the two, the most important among which is Central Asia and the Middle East. Russian commentators have often hinted at China's rising ambitions in Central Asia, over which Russia once enjoyed considerable influence. Moreover, China's increasing military interventions in the Middle East in place of economic ties is another serious concern for Russia. Chinese influence over Djibouti and Gwadar ports could give it access to critical choke points like the Strait of Hormuz and Bab el-Mandeb. China has formalized a partnership with 15 Middle Eastern countries, including maritime cooperation. Russia has also unveiled its plan to set up a naval base in Sudan in order to maintain its presence in the Mediterranean Sea. After being involved in Syria since 2015, Russia has been very clear about its role in the Middle East. China is not taking Russian expansion in the region lightly, and experts believe that China's growing influence in the region can bring it into a conflict with Russia. Apart from this, while China has only been selling small-scale weapons like drones in the region, Russia's arms sale in the Middle East was centered about boosting its economy and creating a buyer dependence in order to strengthen its diplomatic relations. In the last few years, Xi Jinping has brought about changes in Chinese policy to boost his aspirations. China has initiated the development of advanced weapon capabilities in partnership with the UAE. Moreover, facing restrictions on arms sales by the US and European countries, many states have started relying on China. China's expansion goes against the critical interests of Russia, on the basis of which it has framed its Middle East policy. Russia knows very well that China does not discriminate between a friend or a foe. This is the reason why all the Chinese allies who had relied on China while investing have been trapped in what is known as the Chinese debt trap strategy. China has to counter Chinese influence if it wants to establish itself in the Middle East after America's withdrawal. If not, China will employ the same strategy that it had used to assert its influence in the Middle East, as it has done in Afghanistan and Iran. Therefore, in all possibility, India can expect Russia to support it against China. Not only is India a reliable partner for Russia, but also a major defense partner, as has been apparent in the Russia-Ukraine crisis. Russia's support for India against China could prove to be a mutual vision for the two states in global diplomacy. Moreover, Russia's support for India would be crucial on international platforms like the UN. Friends, in a changing geopolitical reality, India's strategic dominance against China would be a major game changer, and Aksai's importance is crucial in this regard. Chinese exclusion from this region will not only ensure our sovereignty but also strengthen the voices of protests suppressed in Tibet. In such a situation, the presence of the Dalai Lama in India could be beneficial for us. So friends, that was an analysis based on a perspective that it could be possible we can take help of Russia for taking back Aksai. Also, this video is quite relevant from the perspective of UPSC mains examination, and questions on India, Russia and world trade could be expected in the UPSC GS2 International Relations section. So we will leave you with a question related to this topic. You could answer it in the comment below. And the question is, there has been a shift in India's policy regarding Aksai. Discuss the statement in light of increasing tension between India and China at LAC. So please answer the question in the comment section, and that's it for the video. I hope you have liked the video, and if you have, don't forget to share it with your friends. We will meet in next video. Till then, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.